Hi everyone, how is your week? Today is a Saturday. Hope you guys are all having a very good break, taking a break from work, studying. Today, I had a good experience playing pickleball with some of my church friends, and also I went to hear from sharing from a person doing refugee work in Germany, in Changi Cove. Welcome to another episode of the Operating Growth System Growth Podcast. In different episodes, we share about development topics, how we can use different tools, and how we can upgrade our operating system as professionals in an artificial intelligence world. In today's episode, we see why being in a room is better than being in a virtual call. The current technology landscape has made meetings easier or accessible with online platforms such as Zoom, jitsi, Microsoft Teams. After COVID, I realized that many people started using virtual meetings as a way to implement hybrid home and hybrid work from home as well as work from office arrangements. This is not necessarily a good or bad thing. It really depends what they are all looking for. I believe that physical meetings with people or strangers are more effective than virtual meetings or calling someone on the phone. Physical meetings is four-dimensional. The different people, when they interact, ask questions, listen, they build trust and rapport that online or audio mediums don't allow. When we are with another person in a physical space, we can understand their emotions, we can see their body language. This is something that virtual platforms do not allow when the participant switches off his video or switches off his mic. People cannot hide their body language emotions when they are there physically because it's a physical space, and by looking at the eye pattern, by looking at their emotions or their body language, you understand whether they are open to listening or they're open to speaking, and you can understand their emotions as well as their personality better. When doing it on the virtual platform, however, you are only able to listen to the content and you may not be able to understand their body language or as well as their emotions. And this is why scammers are very effective in using virtual platforms such as messaging or calling to scam people of their money. Physical meetings create experiences that are more real than virtual meetings. When people in virtual meetings switch off their video, nobody knows what they're doing. They may be multitasking, they could be answering another phone call, they could be playing their phone games, or they could even be taking care of their children as parents. However, when one meets other people physically in appointments or meetings, they have to be present in the moment. Parents who bring children in such meetings have to be focused on the meeting and having their children and leaving their children to wander around. Having physical meetings removes people's mask or emotions. We can see the real honest self of every person we meet. Okay, quick question, friends. How well do you trust your friends when you are not in the room where they are at? When you do message someone, a friend, online, on WhatsApp, Telegram, or any of the platforms online or email, the message may be misconstrued when you reply them or when you send them. However, when you are speaking face to face, or even audio on the phone, it is clearer because you can sense their emotions and their body language better. Another thing that is important is that when people are in a room, it is easier to manage difficult conversations. And this is very important when resolving conflicts, differences in methodologies or methods of doing things or strategies in implementing different projects. With being in a physical meeting with other team members, it gives everyone a chance to explain their ideas and their perspective. This allows more effective and more efficient way of working. I argue that the room still wins because at the end of the day, human thrives on connection and human doesn't thrive on technology. Technology is meant to be a tool and not humans being a slave to technology. When was the last time you had a catch up meal with alumni from the same university or same school? For me, I recently went to my university alumni meeting in Tomb Create in the Create Tower in Utown. This is when our president of a university in Munich flew down from Germany to Singapore to meet the alumni as well as the researchers in the Tomb Create. And having such a meeting, talking to different people working in different sectors, doing different research work, allows one to understand and connect at a deeper level. Another thing about physical meetings or events in a room, in a conference room, in a open area, it helps to build genuine conversations, or it helps to foster different activities. Take, for example, a role play exercise between salespeople. When salespeople are practicing to speak to different clients or prospects, by being in the physical room, they're able to share objections easier with the clients or that with their clients more effectively as compared to doing that on messaging a chatbot and practicing their script or their sales pitch when they speak to the chatbot or their team member, their other sales colleague online. Another thing why having a room is better than virtual meetings is that there's drinks, there's food, there is a deeper conversation. There's a deeper platform for conversations where trust, honesty, and creativity is shared. I remembered one time when I went to Malaysia to have a business meeting or business convention over a weekend at Mind Convention Center. When we were there, we stayed in a hotel at Sungai Besi. Because we were saving money, I took one of the night buses into TBS and I took a train in another grab into Sungai Besi from the bus interchange in KL. What I noticed is that when I was eating my breakfast in a mamak's store in Sungai Besi, food connects people or different groups of people and they were able to discuss about different topics. And this allows me and my other business partner friends after the end of each day to discuss about our learnings and how we can move our business forward. Another thing I realized is coffee and tea brings people together. It is a good way to connect over drinks because it helps the other person to open up in their lives and to be comfortable when they're speaking about their experiences. Sometimes when you are having a virtual meeting, It can be an interview, it can be a sales conversation, it can be a conversation about a volunteer project. It often becomes very awkward in a virtual settings because sometimes people do not know what to say, or there are sometimes other unnecessary background noises. However, when you are in a physical space like a cafe, in a function room, in a hotel, in an open space, in a rooftop, in a garden, there is the expectation that everyone follows what is expected or required in conversations between different groups of people. In my experience in Toastmasters or speaking in conferences or events, I realize that when you are speaking to different people, having a stage, having a room, having a space physically makes your message clearer compared to doing a presentation online through a tool by recording it. I think most of us are guilty about having our meetings virtually because of the convenience, because of the locate locate locations of our team members where they're working or where, where they're based in. However, why don't we arrange a time where we can meet different people physically in different places and create the organic recipe for a more effective team to work together? This is all for today's episode about why room is better than a screen. Please share topics that you are looking for in our next podcast. We hope to see you again and happy Sunday to you. Bye.